Let's talk with Trey. Discussing life day by day. Together we can pave the way. The next show is underway. Let's talk with Trey. Discussing life day by day. Together we can pave the way. The next show is underway.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Let's Talk with Trey Bryan. You see, I got my brother Larry here, QZ, here for another episode. This is going to be an interesting one because we're just going to ad-lib this one, right?
Freestyle.
Yeah, freestyle. And we're just going to spend a few minutes. That's it, maybe 10, 15 minutes. And the topic is the industry of music, what changed?
Ooh.
So there's a lot that we obviously cannot get in 10 to 15 minutes. So we're just going to quickly go over a few things, stuff like the music itself, lyrics, people, and maybe go briefly about what we may experience back in the day. Disclaimer: we performed back in the day when we were teenagers, trying to make it into the industry. QZ far surpassed me on making it into the industry, and I let him talk more about that, and he can get some insights as well. And it's going to be limited because we only have 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But we're going to touch on a few things. But what I want to start with is, after you introduce yourself again, he's been on a couple of previous episodes, so for those who've seen it before would know. But for those who haven't seen the other episodes, I'm going to let him briefly introduce himself. And then the question I want to ask is, what changed in the music as far as lyrically from when we grew up and even before we were born and now? Now I'm not talking about the beats, because the beats improve every time because of the learning from the previous folks.
Yeah.
So they're, for some of your young folks, you're like, we got the best beats. Well, you picked off beats from other beats in the past and all improved.
Right.
But what I'm going to touch on just for this episode more so is the lyrics and the people. So with that, QZ, introduce yourself and then jump into that portion of what may have changed from since we were younger and our experiences into now.
What's up, everybody? I'm back again, man. 3 times a charm, as they say. I'm honored to be here with my brother. Thank you, man, for this opportunity. My name's Larry Rogers, a.k.a. QZ. That's what Trey is calling me. That's my nickname growing up. And, hey, I'm just honored to be here, man. Once again, y'all know I'm the founder and co-founder of Forward Books, along with my wife, Paris, and my son, Langston Rogers. And we're going to have some good talking today because this is really my foundation. This is really my foundation. So I'm honored, and this is great, bro.
Well, it's a blessing to have you.
Thank you, man.
So let's just jump into it. Give me an example of what we grew up hearing as far as lyrically. And then comparing it to, for example, like we grew up hearing love through music, right? Friendships. We even heard backstabbing. But there was some, from my memory, there was some real foundation with the lyrics, and you actually felt what was going on.
Yeah.
And I think, and I'm gonna pass it to you, that there is a huge difference. And young folks, I ain't talking about the beats. A huge difference in the lyrics when we're addressing certain topics. For example, we're talking about when we were growing up, we hear love and caressing and being there for one and chivalry.
Yeah.
And it ain't all young folks, but we hear a lot of booty shaking, and we're addressing the shape of the body and all this other stuff now, as opposed to what a woman really is and how you feel. Your feeling now is more how they look and can you do this and that. So that's my take, not yours. It's a lot in that.
Yeah, a whole lot.
A whole lot. And remember, we only have 10, 15 minutes.
Right.
But I'm going to pass it on to QZ, Larry, so he can give a perspective on that.
Well, bro, I'll just put it like this, man. It's really not just the music. It's just that the times have changed. We have, it's back to generations. It's, we grew up, we 70s babies. So we come, we were born in an era where they were still making that type of music you were just speaking of, the Motown sound, all that stopped, man. And I want to say 2000. It just plummeted after that. But you got to understand, there's a new, different generation of kids and youth. I mean, now, there's, with the all-time high rate of teenage pregnancy and things like that, you got kids having kids. Yeah. So there's not a lot of guidance and direction and instructions on how to do things the proper way. And that's just in life in general. Yeah. So with music, it's kind of like there's, you remember the movie The Wiz or The Wizard of Oz, the guy behind the curtain? That machine still exists, and they're benefiting from all this degrading, disrespectful, male bashing, women bashing type music, from reality television to music. So they're benefiting from it, where they're making trillions of dollars at the expense of someone's ignorance and buffoonery and lack of maturity and home training and education. I think if more kids had opportunities to go to certain rec centers, like, we had the Animal House. Kept us both out of trouble. Kept us busy, and we were part of the era when crack hit. We both probably had the opportunity to start slinging. I know I did, but they saw, my partners, them saw I had talent. So they was like, nah, man, you ain't finna touch this, because somebody from here got to make it. And we know and believe it's going to be you. So here, go and take this couple of $100, buy you your new outfit to dance in or rap in at the Animal House with Scorpio, and go get, both of y'all go get y'all Jerry curls done. Now we ain't got no hair now, but.
He said got some hair. Let's pause I need a haircut. Let's pause for a minute and talk about, you mentioned the Animal House.
Yeah.
Like, how important that was. Let me explain to you guys what the Animal House was. Like, he just mentioned that we were doing things to keep us out of trouble.
Yes.
People seen that we had some talent. So we were singing, dancing, rapping, right?
All of it. And
they seen we had some talent, so we would go. And we have our stage name and all. Mine was Scorpio. He's trying to jag at me. Right? So they leave that name to your imagination. So we would do something, but they kept us off the streets where some of our friends were.
Yeah.
And we grew up in the city.
Yeah.
So some of our friends that were already, the hood. Some of our friends were slinging, doing drugs and doing all type of stuff, right? Still, you name it, it was happening. But that place, which I think, I agree with you, doesn't exist anymore as much. If it does, it's very limited. Where we had a place to release our energy, show off talent, and do stuff positive. Now we had this come together and get different outfits. I remember that. So, I wasn't rich like Larry here.
Nah, so, stop, bro.
My stuff was pieced together.
Hey, I had to wait for the first and the 15th.
From the thrift store to some of our own clothes to whatever.
But did nobody know it? Did nobody know it?
Because we made it work. It wasn't a woe is me. It was let's get out here and do what we got to do.
Yeah.
So that could be something that may be missing too for now. But we were like a work ethic to get it done. Yeah. So you're right. It's because of the environment that's going on too. Because if you think about it, you had me thinking. When we grew up, it was a lot of stuff that was going on in America before we were born, like in the 50s and the 60s,
right,
that was changing a lot for black folks, right? So then it made them stick together even more, and then made them think more about looking at stuff, I believe, about love and all this other stuff. Where I think in some cases we may take advantage of certain situations we may be in, and then we just go and move forward. We being the younger crew, but that music is, like you said, it's like that. It was an example of what we were going through and doing. This is an example of what they're going through.
Yeah.
I mean, you got social media and everything that affects the young folks now. And when I say young, I'm talking about millenniums, like your 30s and down, right? Possibly even in early 40s now, right?
Yeah.
So that music kind of shapes what you think.
Yeah.
And how you feel the day, the year, the life. And what you do, what you think?
Yeah, music definitely. They call it the soundtrack to our lives. Music influences people to do a lot of stuff. It's like it's rare you see somebody watch a movie and there's not a soundtrack in the movie. That would be a very boring movie.
Right.
Come on, cars just driving. There's no. You need all that. The king of that was MJ. He danced. He was the beat. That's what made him so iconic and just a phenom. So I just want us from our generation to to listen and understand today's generation. I don't want us to attack them and
Right.
totally beat them down and throw the baby out with the bathwater, because that's what it is right now.
Right.
We just have to, rescue them. You know, you see somebody drowning and you know how to swim, you're not gonna just let them drown. So we just gotta pull them in and say, no, there's more to you than that. Music, this is music. That's noise.
Exactly.
What we grew up on is music. That's noise. It really is, because now you don't even have to put a sentence together, and it can go platinum.
That's what I'm getting at. And,
So keep
glad
real
Larry-
talk.
Yeah, I'm glad Larry made that point. It's not attacking. When I was like, "Are you booty shaking this?" That's not attacking. What I'm saying is trying to get you to see what Larry just
It's
said.
more.
Is that there's more to
you.
music in you, exactly,
yeah.
in you than what you do. If you're being successful on what you're doing, imagine how more successful you'll be if you did of knowing who you are and who you are.
Now I know you've heard this. Now,
Let me say one more thing. For your young folks, MJ is not Michael Jordan.
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
right. Yeah, thank you, bro. I know you've heard people talk about the local, what we call them the hood pharmacists.
Mm-hmm.
Well, drug dealers.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys are wise. Now what they're doing is wrong.
Right.
But the administrative skills and the business knowledge
Yes.
and entrepreneurship
Powerful.
is off the chain. Now if they take that and make it legitimate, that's all I'm saying.
Exactly. Imagine.
Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Exactly.
That's all I'm saying.
Exactly.
Because if not for the grace of God, there go you and I.
Exactly.
I wasn't always a born again Christian.
Yeah.
So let's
I
keep
mean-
that 100.
Neither one of us were.
And-
I mean, my stage name was Scorpio.
So that tell you right there. Yeah.
So thanks be to God that
Yeah,
he
yeah.
rescued me.
Thanks be to
multiple
God.
times.
Thanks be to God. YouTube wasn't out. Instagram, Facebook.
Don't need to go there.
Yeah, thanks
We
be to
don't need to
God.
go there.
None of that was out when we was, man.
So
Come on.
there are some similarities going on. So it's not me attacking young folks, right? So that
We can relate, bro. We can relate.
Trips and all that.
Yeah, we can relate.
I remember the first trip I went with. We ain't gonna get into that.
Nah.
But let me show you the dedication that we had. Like there was a trip, and I can't remember the particular, but
DC?
he wasn't on. It was going. I mean,
Yeah, we was going to
why
yeah.
he wasn't on the bus with us?
Yeah.
So he, I don't know what happened, but he wasn't on the bus with us. But guess what? He found a way to get
there if
to
you can.
DC anyway. It was a group of us, right, that was performing at this place called Animal House
Yeah.
and other places in St. Louis that was recognized to go to DC
Yes.
and perform.
A major festival.
So we were close of being like where y'all would probably see us on TV all the time in the past.
We were the original ATL.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
we were the second. St. Louis was on the rise to become the next Motown.
Right. Now this is before some of you guys that know Nelly. This is before
All that.
prior to Nelly.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, no.
And so St. Louis had a lot of talent, but just didn't have the managerial skills
Right.
to push that out.
Yeah, the
right?
administrative structure.
So
None of that.
we were getting asked to go to certain places like Indiana, DC, Virginia, and all that, and we went. But with this one particular trip, and it's showing just the dedication, we don't have enough time to talk about it. But Larry found a way that I didn't even know he was behind us until someone said, "Look behind us." We were on this charter bus, and we looked behind, and I let you tell more about the car and stuff he was in, but it wasn't a Mercedes. And then we seen him trucking behind us.
It was a
But I'm pointing out that the dedication that he had, I think kind of that is missing too.
Yeah.
Of what you're going, not to say that folks don't have dedication now though, but he was traveling around in, was it a Transit? Camaro? or something?
Camaro.
Camaro.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just made it. And it cut out on you when we got to DC, right?
Man, as soon as we pulled in the city limits, the car broke down. But we were behind the bus you guys were on. The car was smoking the whole way. I had to, like a puppy, I had to stick my head out the window so I wouldn't die from the exhaust and everything. But hey, me and Candyman, we made it.
He made it.
Yeah.
And he took the show.
Yeah, that's the part I'm proud of.
Yeah. So
Even more proud of. Yeah.
So what's the lesson behind that?
Don't give up.
Bingo. Don't give up on anything, whether it's in industry, music. I know we're talking about music industry real quick, but in life in general.
Right.
Don't give up. You keep pushing, keep
Persevere.
moving. what else you got to add to this quick one? We got to have Larry back on and talk about this music industry.
Man.
Not too much about what I did at Scorpio back in the day. We keep that.
See, he been modest, y'all. This dude used to shut it down. I'm telling you, man. I watched him. He 1 year older than me, but I looked up to him, and he used to shut it down, man. He was like a one-man band. Let's just keep it real. And then I was in a group, and then I became a one-man band after that DC show.
Yeah, he sure did.
And went from what Drake say, started at the bottom, now I'm here.
Yeah.
And that's how I went, brother.
Yeah. That's what
they didn't talk bad about me no more because I stole the show, and I went from the opening act to the headliner.
Yeah, he stole that show there, big time. And not that the rest of us were bad.
No.
He was we all were great that time. He just took it a step higher. And I would say because he had the dedication and probably the puff from the exhaust. He's probably trying to get it out of the system.
Right.
But he did.
I had something to prove. Let me put it to you like that. I had something to prove because there was some cats on that tour bus that did me pretty bad. Dion, they talked about me bad, bro.
Yeah.
They did me bad. They talked about my Jerry curl. Yeah. They talked about my new outfit my mama bought me. It was yellow. It was only yellow because I was trying to look like Ralph Transvan from New Edition.
Yeah.
But hey, I didn't care about the brothers talking as long as the girls was clapping and applauding and loving it, and it worked out, brother.
Yeah, and it did. The girls were all over him. Not. So we're gonna keep that.
Yeah.
So with that,
that's his story, and he's sticking to it.
Yeah. So with that, but we gotta have him back on. We're gonna eventually go live pretty soon too. For the guys that don't know, Dion is the cameraman behind.
Yeah, Dion the cameraman.
So we're gonna go live.
You gotta get a cameraman love, bro. Come on, exactly. Yeah, you gotta get a cameraman.
He does his job great.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So we're gonna after we get done with this and all, and do some more editing. Of course, my son does all the editing. He's also the one that does the intro that you guys heard a minute ago.
Yeah, I like that
before
intro.
That's talk with Trey.
tight.
So he did that as well. And he does like our info commercials and all that too. So I'm gonna give much love to both of those guys. But with that, when we go live, I know Larry is in LA now.
Yeah.
So we're gonna live how we connect that with Zoom or whatever.
Yeah, we're gonna make it work.
We'll make that work, and we're gonna have them in on some more future episodes if you're willing to do that.
Oh yeah, let me say this too. Like the music thing now, I pass it on to my 12-year-old son Langston Rogers.
That's what I was about to get.
His new album is out. He did a remake of a classic from the Jackson 5 called With the Child's Heart. The video is out on YouTube. It's doing great. We almost hit 1,000 views. You can go to our YouTube page, Larry, Paris, and Langston, like Langston Hughes, and see his video, man. It's shot on the ocean. It's beautiful, man. I'm so proud of my 12-year-old son. He's been singing since he was 2, but if you ask him about music, he'll name all the old school songs because that's the way I trained him.
Exactly.
He been listening to that since he was in his mother's womb, old school, real music. So he know about the greatest artists that ever do it. Mm-hmm. And he's a big Michael Jackson fanatic like his mother and I was, and still is. So yeah.
We are as well. So with that, you guys heard it. You know where to get it as well. With that, I want to thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining again, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Love you,
man. You know that.
And thank you guys for supporting. And remember, subscribe, like, and share this across the world. Yeah. With that, thank you for tuning in again. Love you guys, and may God bless you.
All right.